the end of the class also, more students will come. Then we're going to still introduce him. But for now, for those of you who are here to start the class, this is His Grace Brajabasi Prabhu. His Grace Brajabasi Prabhu Ki Jai. So please, we are honored and try to not to disappoint him by being interactive and by being attentive, by owning your video all the time and be responsive to questions. So thank you very much. His Grace Brajabasi Prabhu. You are welcome. Hare Krishna. Forgive us, please. We are only making efforts to serve the devotees. So you will overlook our, substandard ways of doing things, but somehow or the other, we are trying to just do something, just to encourage devotees and to also fulfill the orders of Prabhupada. So thank you very much for tolerating us in advance. And please forgive us, carry us along as we are with you. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, Chaitanya Prema Prabhu. Accept my obeisances. First of all, let me offer my respectful obeisances. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Sharakaya Chakshur Onmiritam Jina Tasmai Shri Guravi Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatam Ahang Vande Shri Guru Dinataranam Nama Ong Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shri Mate Bhakti Charu Swaminiti Namini Nama Ong Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shri Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Pastata Desha Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Shri Gadadhar Shri Asari Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, good afternoon to all the devotees.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. You're welcome.
Good afternoon to all of you, and please accept my respectful obeisances and greetings to whoever is listening. And I see some familiar faces here. I see Prana Priya. If you can kindly turn your camera on, I think it is better for the for the more personal aspect of the interactions of the class. If we put our cameras on, I can see you, you can see me, so this doesn't become a monologue. And I'm not quite sure if I did check all the documents that Chaitanya Prema Prabhu sent me, but I do believe that for every course or for every seminar or whenever devotees get together, even though it's always obvious that there should be protocols, there should be guidelines for the success of the class. I'm sure Chaitanya Prema Prabhu put some Raghupati Prabhu, please put your camera on. I'm sure Chaitanya Prema Prabhu has put on some guidelines on there. So we'll try and follow those guidelines. And for me, the most important of the guidelines here is that we discuss, maybe we should start, I'll just get straight to it. So the Bhakti Sastri course that we are conducting, that's being conducted by the amazing leadership of Chaitanya Prema Prabhu, who is, he's one of the most amazing devotees. Education is one of the most important angas of Krishna consciousness, and without the proper orientation, intellectual, mental, psychological, and all the other orientations. If people are not properly orientated, we can misunderstand the philosophy, like Prabhu was saying earlier, and things can get lost. And so I very much appreciate Chaitanya Prema Prabhu. I told him this personally when I was in Accra the last time. This is a very important service, education. So the Bhakti Sastri course has a long history, and I'm proud to say that I contributed to the initial Bhakti Sastri, systematized Bhakti Sastri that was then known as VTE, Vaishnava Training and Education. That was led by the expertise, stalwart expertise of Rasa Mandala Prabhu. He's one of the legends when it comes to ISKCON education. He had a team. I don't know what happened here. Delete this or okay. Never mind. So Rasamandala Prabhu, yeah. So he had a team, and for the first time in the history of our movement, at least in our contemporary history, he organized along with his team what you have now. Initially, he put it together with his team. I was able to contribute to that development. My contribution was very minuscule, very small, but nevertheless, I am proud to say I did contribute. And the initial Bhakti Shastri course was, the material was bulky. It was bulky. There was lots and lots of information that you had to go through. A teacher was taken through the process of teaching. And all the devotees that were in Rasamandala Prabhu's teams, these were the creme de la creme when it comes to education in ISKCON. So they put this together. And what came out was these 12 aims of Shastric study for ISKCON. So when we do the Bhakti Shastri, there's goals in mind. There are goals in mind, and Prabhupada, there's many quotes around where Prabhupada is saying that without a goal, a ship will get lost, or a boat will get lost. So we always need to know where we're going. We always need to know what the objectives are in whatever we do. And so these are at least for the purposes of the Bhakti Shastri, these are the 12 aims that you obviously already have in your books. They deal with knowledge, theoretical knowledge, memory and recall. They deal with understanding, and so on and so on. You've gone through all these things with Chaitanya Prabhu in the first part. So this is just a little recap so that we are able to connect the first part of the Bhagavad Gita and within the context of the Bhakti Shastri with what we'll be embarking upon. So I'm saying this to say that in the next 6 chapters that we'll be studying, we are going to apply a lot of these 12 aims. We are going to discuss philosophy as presented by Srila Prabhupada when Prabhupada was around, and we'll also look at the philosophy in contemporary. What does the ISKCON landscape look like now? What are some of those discussions that are happening, and how do they tie in with our study of the Bhakti Shastri, right? So in other words, what I'm saying to you is that we are going to have quite a lot of discussions about real issues that devotees faced on a day-to-day, because the Bhagavad Gita, as you know, is a practical, the Bhakti Shastris in general, they are very practical books, practical literature. So therefore, what applied to people 5,000 years ago should still be able to apply to devotees in 2026. So in other words, the Shastras stay true across time, place, and circumstance. So we'll explore all these things. And what I'm getting at here is that in the course of discussing these issues, we are not going to discuss people. We will be discussing issues and not people. Remember, this is a Shastri course. We deal with philosophy, we deal with opinions, we deal with things like that, but not with persons. I'll give you an example. There's a lot of discussions that are happening in our movement right now. If you go on Facebook, you go on YouTube, devotees have lots of opinions and lots of views on things. And so we are going to try to look at some of these views and look at them from the Chakshush point of view, the Jnana Chakshush point of view, seeing things from the Shastra. And what we are going to be doing is we are not going to be taking any sides. We are going to be decoding the Shastra and seeing what is in line with what Prabhupada is saying in our acharyas. An example that I wanted to give you is, I won't mention any names, but there's currently a big debate between two illustrious Vaishnavas that occupy two interesting positions in the theology spectrum. If we were to apply certain words, we would say one is conservative, the other one is liberal. It's very, if you have to go, all you have to do is go on Facebook or YouTube and you'll see this discussion. One of them just posted yesterday. I'm following this because I'm a teacher, and so therefore I have to be in tune with what people are saying and the various view paradigms that are going around. So this senior Vaishnava posted a follow-up yesterday. And prior to that, the other senior devotee posted a 3-part response. So it's a very interesting dynamic. And what's very interesting about this back and forth is that each one of them is presenting Shastra. Each one of them is presenting a quote. Each one of them is presenting what they believe to be the right understanding of Krishna consciousness. So it's a back and forth. So what we're going to do is we're just going to look at some of the things that are said and tie in with our Bhakti Sastri course, and not get into the personal aspect, personal attacks, because this is not what the Bhakti Sastri is about. Srila Prabhupada writes in the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita that he does not accept blind followers. Blind following is not accepted. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami describes how a Vaishnav should not be afraid to interrogate difficult and controversial subject matters just because they are controversial. But what this does, especially as Prabhupada writes in the first 2 verses of the 14th chapter of this Bhagavad Gita, that this is allowed, trying to understand, philosophical understanding within the context of the acharyas, within the context of the Shastra, is allowed. You can read the very first purport to chapter, text number 1 to chapter 14. Prabhupada mentions this. So that's basically what we are going to be doing. We won't mention any names. We are going to have a little fun with the Shastra, because Shastra is alive and it has to be meaningful in the sense that we should be able to translate what we study here into day-to-day life. Otherwise, it becomes theory. And, theory is just theory. It's not very, very attractive. So it has to translate into practical stuff, and not just something that we only do when we are in the temple in the Vyasasa. For instance, the world is the way it is right now. There's a lot of discussions going on everywhere in all social media around, for instance, issues of abortion, around issues of morality, issues of justice, and we have an opinion. We have something to say, because the Shastra has something to say about these things. And Prabhupada made it very clear, tying it in with what I'd started with when Rasamandal Prabhu and his team were putting this together. They came up with an understanding of what Prabhupada really wanted from the devotees. Of course, this can be subject to discussion, but based on the foundation that Rasamandal Prabhu and others have laid, we will build on this. That what Prabhupada really wanted to do with ISKCON, apart from the 7 purposes of ISKCON and so on, is to create a Brahminical class of people. Prabhupada said that the society is headless. And so the Bhakti Sastri is to create those leaders that can be sober, thoughtful, and if I remember correctly, the description, the definition of that was that to create a Krishna conscious leadership that is able to apply the teachings of the Shastras in their own lives and also in helping others. I'm just paraphrasing, but that's essentially what we want. Individuals that are Krishna consciousness on their own right, they can apply the teachings of Prabhupada in their lives and in preaching. Basically, that's it. And so this will be our foundation. All right, so it'll probably take us about maybe 3 classes or so, 4 classes in order for us to get into a rhythm, to find each other and find a common space where we feel a little safe to share and discuss. And until then, you are always open to ask questions and to engage with me. This is not a monologue. I think those devotees that know me is that I like interactions. I like what is called, if you're familiar with the Greek, I mean, we'll discuss, this will be included in our understanding. But when the Greeks, the Greek philosophers, one of the greatest Greek philosophers, his name was Socrates. And Socrates had a very interesting way of engaging his students. Prabhupada said that if you read that book, what is it now? Quest for Enlightenment? No, the other one about philosophy. I forget what it is. It's Prabhupada's book there. Prabhupada calls Socrates Bhakta Socrates. Says he was a devotee. Anyway, he had a method, what is called the Socratic method, which is like really engaging, asking questions, and not just sitting passively. So this is the method that I will be engaging in. So the Bhagavad Gita has been translated. I mean, we all know this. Prabhupada speaks about this also in the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita. It's been translated, interpreted, and reimagined in the modern era many, 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 many times. I personally, before I even read Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita, I had read 2 different versions, and one of those was by Vivekananda, who was an impersonalist, right? And Prabhupada also very strongly spoke out against Vivekananda and his teachings, and we'll touch on some of those because Prabhupada makes mentions of, his philosophy. So you have spiritual teachers have taken the Bhagavad Gita, they've translated it, they've interpreted it, and they've reimagined it to fit, the modern era. Scholars have done the same. Political thinkers have done the same. If you follow the history of India, you'll see how the Bhagavad Gita is how it's been used as a tool at the hands of politicians. Mahatma Gandhi is one of them. Many others, Bose before them. You just have to read a little bit about the history of India and understand what they've done to the Bhagavad Gita. Scholars, the same thing, different spiritual teachers. I mentioned Vivekananda as an example. Self-help readers, there's a lot of that. Interfaith audiences. So the Bhagavad Gita has really been translated into so many ways that it sort of loses a sense of what it's really all about. And so therefore we have Bhagavad Gita as it is. And by the way, somebody wrote a book called the Bhagavad Gita as it was. Anyway, but his approach was to show that his argument was, this is the Bhagavad Gita as Krishna spoke it, without all the adulteration as it claims it. So Bhagavad Gita as it was, whereas Prabhupada is as it is, which is living. Yesterday it was living, today is living, tomorrow is living. So is superior to was. So we've seen, I mean, these are some of the examples of how the the Bhagavad Gita has been reinterpreted. These are some of the very famous ones, you know, academic scholar. This is Stephen Mitchell, who's also actually is one of my favorite Bhagavad Gita. He's a poet. Prabhupada also translated, and then you have your neo-Hindu. There's so many others, political figures like that. I mean, it's just like people are playing around with the Bhagavad Gita, right? And so according to scholars, there are different types of Gita. So when you are speaking about the Gita has been, according to the scholars, has been molded into different types of Gitas, right? I would again ask you to turn your cameras on so I can see you. Please work with me. So like I said, scholarly Gitas, you know, devotional Gitas, religious, philosophical, so on and so on and so on. All right, so that was just to give you a context. And like I said, Bhagavad Gita as it is the most superior, even though they categorize as one of the categories among the many types. But so here we go. So the Bhagavad Gita is also known as the Yoga Ladder. I don't know if Chaitanya Prema Prabhu has touched on this, but I'll just go through this very quickly. I'm sure he probably did. The Yoga Ladder, you know, you have Karma Yoga. It's as another way of looking at it. You have Karma Kanda, Sakam Karma Yoga, Nishkam Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, and finally Bhakti Yoga. Right? And Prabhupada explains that all of these karma, Jnana, and Ashtanga without the yoga part, they're useless. And the yoga part means devotion. That's what Prabhupada explains. All right. So you already also have this. So this is what we'll be dealing with here, the middle 6 chapters. The Supreme Personality of Godhead and his different energies and opulences are described. And you'll see an expansion of this also in the 10th chapter. So the 7th and the 10th chapter quite similar, where Krishna speaks about these opulences. This section especially deals with the relationship between the Supreme Soul and the individual soul in regards to devotional service. Krishna also discusses the nature and activities of such pure devotional service, which he confirms to be the best process of self-realization. This you already have in your books. So these are the key memory verses. Chaitanya Prema Prabhu 7.1, is it one of the key memory verses? No? I might have because I was cutting and pasting here, so I might have missed the number.
Unless I go back to check. I don't think so.
Okay. Thank you. So anyway, so these are your key memory verses, which means that you have to memorize this. The next one is 7.5 in this chapter. 7.5, 7.14, and 7.19. These. All right. So the first 6 chapters, as we, the Yoga Ladder, right? The first 6 chapters of the Yoga Ladder dealt with the Karma Yoga. And so these 6 chapters deal with Bhakti Yoga. And I was speaking with Chaitanya Prema Prabhu the other day, and he was beautifully describing it as a sandwich. And the Bhakti Yoga is that little nectar that's in the middle part. So this is what we will be speaking about, discussing here. So, okay. And so this is, let me move this over here a little bit. So this is how the 7th chapter is divided into. Again, this is also in your books. Knowing Krishna in full by hearing about him, that's 1 to 7. Knowing Krishna as a source of both material and spiritual energies, that's 8 to 12. The 3 modes are controlled by Krishna, therefore surrender, 13 and 14. The 4 kinds of impious persons who do not surrender to Krishna, and 4 kinds of pious persons who do. Demigod worshippers and impersonalists who surrender is misplaced, 20 to 25. And finally, bewilderment of the living entity and knowledge of Krishna. So these are the themes that we'll be covering, or these are the divisions of the chapter that we'll be covering in this chapter. All right, so maybe before we do that, can somebody read the whole chapter 7? Or maybe you can, amongst yourselves, read the whole chapter 7, just the English, from text 1 all the way to text number 30.
Okay. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Now hear, O son of Preta, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows him in truth. Either earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. Altogether, these eight constitutes my separated material energies. Besides this, O mighty armed Arjuna, this is another superior energy of man, which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. All created beings have their source in these two natures. Of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world, know for certain that I am both the origin and the dissolution. O conqueror of world, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me, as pearls are strung on a thread. O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound in ether and ability in man.
Okay, so we can
I
stop
am the
there.
original.
Ragupati, thank you. We'll do the first 7 first, and then you can read when we continue. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, so let me just say something else. So Prabhupada's Bhagavad Gita is Bhagavad Gita as it is. And Prabhupada's purports are the Bhaktivedanta purports. And so you may have noticed that Prabhupada's translations of the Sanskrit sometimes can come into question, right? There have been scholars that have questioned, for instance, Srila Prabhupada's translations of certain words. In the first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, for instance, there you see Prabhupada translate karma yoga as bhakti yoga, right? And a lot of the scholars and a lot of people, and even some of Prabhupada's own disciples, had an issue with this. They had a problem with this because karma yoga is karma yoga and bhakti yoga is bhakti yoga according to them. And so in response to this criticism, His Holiness Shivaram Maharaj wrote this wonderful book called the Bhaktivedanta Purports, where he sets the matter to rest, where he clarifies Prabhupada's purports, and he goes into discussions about Prabhupada's purport and why karma yoga, Prabhupada's translation of karma yoga, is not wrong. It's devotional service. So that book is a bona fide. It's a bona fide ISKCON book, written by a bona fide ISKCON sannyasi. You can buy that book and read it, and it'll also help you put some context into the Bhaktivedanta purports and the criticism, so that when you speak with people, when you hear this criticism, you are able to respond properly. And so I just want to, I want to share with you, where's the chats? Okay. There is, okay. I'm going to post a link here. All right. I don't know. Did it go through? No. It doesn't allow me to post, to copy and paste. Anyway, maybe I'll do it on the group. What's going on? I've lost my ability to share. I don't understand what's going on. Just give me 1 second. I don't know what I did. Oh, here we go. Okay, okay. Yeah, I'll put it on the chat. So what that link was about is it's a link to ISKCON Communications Journal. And it's a link that was, it is an article that was written by His Grace Gopi Paradana Prabhu. He's late now. He's the one who wrote that, he translated the Bhagavatamrita. The Bhagavatamrita. He had a school in Vrindavan, a Sanskrit school in Vrindavan, and he had some students that graduated there. And one of them is here in South Africa, studied under Gopi Prabhu. His name is Gopinath Prabhu. I may invite him actually to, maybe towards the end, to discuss some few things in relation to the Shastra and in terms of what he's also learned from Gopi. So we'll see. So in that article, Gopi Padana Prabhu, he examines one of Srila Prabhupada's purports. And what he does there, I'll just cut to the chase into this. What he does there is he establishes that Prabhupada's purports are not just Prabhupada's own purports. Nigamakal pataru galitam phalam sukamukat amrita drava samitam pibatarasam alaya muhu aho rasikabul baba. Right? You know that verse. That this Srimad Bhagavatam is a verse from the Bhagavatam, that this Bhagavatam is very sweet because it comes directly from the lotus mouth of Sukadev Goswami. So it speaks to the parampara. And so, you know, like that, it gets passed down like that. So what we have in the Bhaktivedanta purports is a combination of many of our acharyas, Baladev Vidyabhushan, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, and others. They have their purports appear in Srila Prabhupada's purport. So the Bhaktivedanta purports are like the essence of the acharya's teachings. They are not just Prabhupada's teaching. I mean, they are Prabhupada's realization. They are Prabhupada's realization plus teachings of the acharyas. It's a beautiful article that you can read. Okay. I don't know why the screen is not moving to the next one. Oh, Govinda, I don't know what's going on here, devotees. Just bear with me 1 second. I don't understand. My PowerPoint isn't moving. Stuck. Okay. All right. So in text number 1, Krishna begins that very text up doing something very interesting. So he sets precedent. So I'm using this Gita here, the regular common Gita. And I'm also referencing Baladev Vidyabhusan and Jagannath Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's translation by Bhanu Swami. and Burijan Prabhu's Surrender Unto Me. So those will be some of the references that we'll be using. And all of these are Bhakti Sastri material. So what Krishna does here is he gives the goal to Arjuna, right? He says to Arjuna that this is what you can go, this is what you can get. You can be in full consciousness of me, because Krishna has also hinted to Arjuna what that actually means, being in full consciousness of me, right? And how do you do that? How do you become situated in full consciousness of Krishna? Krishna says that by practicing yoga. So the yoga that I'm about to describe to you is how you become situated in this consciousness, right? And then Krishna says something interesting. He says, just hear, tat shrinu. Just try to hear. Try to hear. Shinvanda swakata Krishna punya shravana kirtana ridi antasto bhadrani vidhunoti surit satam, right? That when one is has the inclination to the propensity to listen to Krishna Katha, what happens is a science. What happens is the stuff that's in the heart is purified, all beginning with hearing. So hearing is important, and Krishna, it's a very important point to underline here, that everything begins here with hearing. So at the end of chapter 6, remember that Krishna said that the highest yogi is one who thinks of Krishna. Who can tell me who can recite the verse, the Sanskrit and the English of the verse that's been spoken about? This is
Yogi Nama Pita Sam.
yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. That's the last verse, right? That's the last text of chapter 6. And then the progressive stages of devotional service are described in Srimad Bhagavatam. They also begin with hearing, right? The 9 angas of bhakti begin with hearing. So hearing is is very important. It's very important. And as we'll study later on, we will get to see how even hearing is influenced by the modes. Of course, we haven't gotten to the section yet about the 3 modes of material nature. But when we get to the section, you'll see that everything is affected by the modes of material nature. Like hearing can also be influenced by the modes of nature. Hearing in the mode of ignorance means you are present, you hear sound, but you don't hear anything. Hearing in the mode of passion is more selective listening. You are listening, but at the same time, you are designing your argument, you are disagreeing, you are thinking about something else. So you're only partially listening, partially hearing. And hearing in the mode of goodness means attentive listening. And attentive listening, by the way, the word attention comes from the word stand, from the English word stand, right? From the Latin root sta. And from this root comes stand, comes stationary, comes constitution, comes standard. So anything that has to do with being solid in one place without moving comes from this root. It's the same thing in Sanskrit. The Sanskrit for this word is sta, and from there, same thing comes out. So when we are speaking about attention, we are speaking about your mind. You discussed this in chapter 6. The mind is in one place and it's not moving. Krishna discussed in chapter 6. It is not moved by the modes of material nature. So that is like proper listening, attentive listening, as compared to the other types of listening. So this is text number 1. Are there any questions in regard to this? So in the very last line, of this purport. Prabhupada says there, the very last line. Therefore, only by hearing from Krishna or from his devotee in Krishna consciousness can one understand the signs of Krishna. So even hearing in the mode of goodness is not good enough, right? It's not good enough. One has to hear from a specific source, and that is a Krishna conscious source, from the devotee source. All right. So text number 2, out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection. And of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. All right. So we move on. If there's no questions, text number.
That is text number 3.
Yes. Yes, that is number 3. So generally, people are not interested in spiritual life. Among those, and this you can go to, you've discussed this also, text number 4, chapter 4, text number 10. Prabhupada speaks about why are people not interested in spiritual life, and specifically why are people not really attracted to personalism or God as a person. So you can go back and refresh. Among those on the spiritual path, knowledge of Krishna is rare because it is obtained only by selfless devotion, not by any material formula or mental speculation or ritual. Krishna only reveals himself to the pure devotees when he is pleased with their loving service to him. This is the nectar of devotion. Have you done the nectar of devotion?
No, nectar of instruction.
Oh, not the nectar of devotion. Okay.
Yeah, nectar of devotion will be the last.
Will be the last one. Okay. So in the nectar of devotion, Srila Rupa Goswami gives 6 levels of bhakti. 6 levels of bhakti. And one of those is that devotional service is sudurlabha, and that it is rare. Krishna. Bhakti is sudurlabha, rare. Very, very rare. Right? Krishna, devotional service is very, very rare. And so therefore, not everybody is able to achieve it. And Prabhupada in the Nectar of Devotion describes this rarity of Krishna consciousness. It's rare because Krishna is controlled by his devotees. Krishna is controlled by his devotees. So you don't want a demon like Kamsa controlling Krishna. Only his devotees, because it is only love that can really control anybody, not force. Force, you can control somebody. I'm sure Krishna Prema Prabhu has described the origin of the word Shastra, that the word Shastra comes from the Shas Dhatu, or the root Sanskrit root Shas, which means weapon. And there are 2 types of weapons, right? There is brute force or physical force, and there is subtle force, which is knowledge, basically. Physical force is like what governments do, right? Physical force is what the Trump administration did in Venezuela, right? Going in there and subduing government. So this is force. This is physical force. And then there's knowledge aspect of it. And it is also a means to control Krishna, what's his name now? Michael Kramer, what's his name, Prabhu?
Sadaputa Prabhu.
Sadaputa? No, not Sadaputa Prabhu. Sadaputa Prabhu was a mathematician. That's Thomas. I mean, Sadaputa Prabhu is no, it's not Sadaputa Prabhu. He wrote a book with Sariputta Prabhu, The Hidden History of Archaeology.
Yes. Okay.
Sariputta Prabhu was a mathematician, the scientist. This devotee is a historian. Anyway, I'll remember him. So his name is Michael Kramer. Sorry, just see. I only remember his Kami name. So in his book, both by Sariputta Prabhu and Prabhuji here, so they write that knowledge is also a control system, and knowledge is a filter system. So they described how, like for instance, some of the findings that they have, you don't find them in some universities. Like if you go to the anthropology departments of some universities, there's certain things you will not see there. And why is it? That is because there's certain knowledge that is acceptable, there's knowledge that is unacceptable. So there's a filtering system. It's a whole another discussion. So what we get in terms of knowledge is filtered. TikTok works the same way, Facebook works the same way, algorithms work the same way. It's a sort of a filtering system of knowledge. So these are ways of controlling people. I mean, we know that social media, TikTok and others, it's a means of control. So you can control people either by brute force or you can control people by knowledge. One of the Christian scholars, when he went into one city, what he did was he ordered that all the libraries in the cities be destroyed, and all the books brought to him, so that in the end, everybody who wanted any knowledge had to come to him. This is control. So anyway, so Krishna can only be controlled by love, no other way. And so therefore, to avoid this bhakti is very, very rare. It's Durlabha. And Prabhupada explains in the purport to text number 3 how Krishna reveals himself only to his pure devotees when he's pleased with their loving service. There's no other way. No other way. All right, text number 4. If you have any questions, you can raise your hand. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. All together, these 8 constitute my separated material energies. And then text number 5, besides these, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mine, which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material nature. Text number 6, all created beings have their sources in these 2 natures. Of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world, know for certain that I'm both the origin and the dissolution. So Krishna here is speaking about the dualistic nature of the jiva, right? Vishnu Shakti Para Proktak Chetak Gyatya Tata Para. You know that verse? It's quoted in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's from the Vishnu Purana, that the Krishna has many energies, but out of these many energies, 3 are primary, and that is the spiritual energy, the marginal energy, Tatashta Shakti, that's the conditioned living beings, and material energy. And the living being is Tatashta Shakti, is marginal. So sometimes we are Krishna conscious, sometimes we are not so Krishna consciousness. Sometimes we are fired up, sometimes we are not so fired up. Sometimes we are attentive, sometimes we are not so attentive. Especially on a weekend, on a Saturday afternoon like this, attention is a little bit of a challenge, isn't it? So in these 3 verses, Krishna gives the dualistic nature of the living entity, that we can either be covered by the spiritual potency or the material potency. The choice is ours. And then finally in this section, Krishna says in text number 7, O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me as pearls are strung on a thread. It's a very, very powerful analogy that Krishna is giving. Number 7. This is where we are. As pearls are strung on an unseen thread, all the universes are being maintained by Krishna, who is also unseen. So this is the first point that Prabhupada makes in the purport. And then the second point that Prabhupada makes there in the purport is that the Krishna herein confirms the supremacy of the personal aspect of the absolute truth, thus settling the controversy whether the absolute truth is a person or not a person. So what I want us to do here is somebody should read the last paragraph of the purport.
Prabhu,
Yes.
before the start, the name is Drutakama Prabhu.
Yes, thank you, Prabhu. Drutakama Prabhu, yes. Drutakama Prabhu. He's a very illustrious Vaishnava. He wrote a book along with Sariputta Prabhu, the hidden history of what is it? Yeah, the hidden history of archaeology. It's a big book.
The hidden history of human race or something, and forbidden archaeology.
Yes, forbidden archaeology. Yes, that's the right. Thank you, Prabhu. So what I want us to do is somebody should go into text number 7. One thing. Okay, while you're doing that, somebody can go into text number 7 and read, just 1 second. Actually, read the whole verse. Read purport to text number 7. And somebody other than Raghupati should read.
The purport of text number 7.
Yes.
There is a common controversy over whether the Supreme Personality or the Supreme Absolute Truth is personal or impersonal. As far as Bhagavad Gita is concerned, the Absolute Truth is the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, and this is confirmed in every step. In this verse, in particular, it is stressed that the Absolute Truth is a person, that the personality of Godhead is the Supreme Absolute Truth, is also the affirmation of the Brahma Samhita. Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha. That is, the Supreme Absolute Truth personality of Godhead is Lord Krishna, who is the primary Lord, the reservoir of all pleasure. Govinda, the eternal form of complete bliss and knowledge. These authorities leave no doubt that the Absolute Truth is the Supreme Person, the cause of all causes. The impersonalist, however, argues on the strength of the Vedic version given in the Svatara Upanishad 3:10. Tatoyat Utarasaram Tat Arupam Anamayam Ya Itad Vidu Amrita Ste Bhavanti Atakara Dukam Evapiyati. In the material world, Brahma, the primary living entity within the universe, is understood to be the supreme amongst the demigods, human beings, and lower animals. But beyond Brahma, there is the transcendence, who has no material form and is free from all material contamination. Anyone who can know him also becomes transcendental. But those who do not know him suffer the miseries of the material world. The impersonalist puts more stress on the word arupam, but this arupam is not impersonal. It indicates the transcendental form of eternity, bliss, and knowledge, as described in the Brahma Samhita, quoted above. Other verses in the Ch7 Upanishad 3:8-9 substantiate this as follows. Videham itam purusam mahantam aditya vanam tamasa paksa tam eva videdvat ki mritum eti Nanya Panta Vidyate Janaya. Jasma Param Naparam Asti Kinchit. Jasma Nanyo Yo Yayo Sti Kinchit. Priksa Iva Sato Divis Distati Ekas Kitanjam. Kenedam Puna Purusina Savam. I know that Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is transcendental to all material conceptions of darkness. Only he who knows him can transcend the bonds of birth and death. There is no way for liberation other than this knowledge of that Supreme Person. There is no truth superior to that Supreme Person because he is the supermost. He is smaller than the smallest and he is greater than the greatest. He is situated as a silent tree and he illumines the transcendental sky. And as a tree spreads its roots, he spreads his extensive energy. From these verses, one concludes that the Supreme Absolute Truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is all pervading by his multi-energy, both material and spiritual.
Thank you. Is that Purushottam Yatra? Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavatu.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you doing the Bhakti Sastri. I hope you're
Nice to
well.
see you. Yeah, by your grace, I'm good.
Yeah. So I want you to turn to your study manual, right? That's page 61. Let me know when you've done that. Your study manual that was given to you, turn to page 61. So that'll be in unit 3. Everybody has it?
Answer, do you have it? If not, why not?
No, Prabhu.
Okay, so what you'll see there in page 61 of this of your study guide, right, of the book that you should have gotten, you'll see that there's themes. It is for the Bhakti Sastri. There are certain themes that we are going to focus on, and that you've been focusing on also with Chaitanya Prema Prabhu. And if you look there, you'll see that one of those themes is defeating impersonalism. So impersonalism is a major part of the discussions in the Bhakti Sastri. Prabhupada's own pranam mantra, Nama Ong Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirbhisesa Shunyavadi Pastata Desha Tarine. So this Prabhupada Pranam Mantras, what it does is it sets forth Prabhupada's mission in his intent. It sends intention also. That Prabhupada's goal in coming to the West was to preach Krishna consciousness. And what comes with that is that Krishna is a person, or the philosophy that we know as personalism. Now, this is one of the subjects that I speak a lot about this. I spoke about this last year. When was it now? Before I went to Ghana, I went to West Africa. I spoke with this. I had a little conference, a presentation that I did about personalism. So this is one of my favorite subjects in Krishna consciousness is personalism. And so what you find that in the material world, and Prabhupada speaks about this in a very purport, that what you find is that there are two paradigms that exist in the world. And these two paradigms are the personalist or personalism and impersonalism. So what I mean by paradigm is how you view the world. Paradigm means how you view the world. So you have personalism and impersonalism. And some scholars say that the Western world is primarily influenced by impersonalism. Now, there's a history of that. I'm not going to bore you that, but if you're interested, you can read. There's a book by Bertrand Russell. Bertrand Russell. He speaks about the history of Western philosophy. It's one of the books I studied. So what you'll find, you see how philosophy or the worldly outlook develops from the Greek time to the present time, at least when he was alive, when he was writing the book. And so you find that by the influence of the Greeks and all of this, the West tend to see things from an impersonal point of view. And what does this mean? It means, for instance, that when you look at something or when you look at people, you remove the personal aspect of it. Let me give you an example. Generally speaking, and by no means, when I say the West, I'm not implying that all Westerners are impersonalists, by no means. Again, this is just like quoting from that, that some of the scholars, some of them that say that. And Prabhupada himself says that actually the West is full of impersonalism. So an example that I can give is, if you go into a shop with the Western mindset, right? When somebody walks in your shop, the immediate translation is Nairas, Chedis, Ganas, right? So this is what Vaisheshika Prabhu calls, instead of seeing the Atma, we see the ATM. Instead of seeing the Atma, we see the ATM. So when somebody walks in a shop, the calculation is money coming in. Whereas in a personalist setup, when somebody walks in, you treat them as a person. The Japanese, Africans are very popular with this. Are very exceptionally popular. But the Japanese are the example that's put out in the mainstream media, where, for instance, in the Japanese culture, before you do any business with the Japanese person, if you go, many American business people have written about this, that they'll go for a business lunch, a business dinner, and when they sit down, right, the Americans one of the first things American business person would be like, let's cut to the chase. Let's discuss business, right? Let's not waste any time. You compare that to the Japanese approach to things, which is a little different. You sit at the table, which is same in all African cultures, from north, east, west, south, it's similar. When you sit down, first of all, what you do is you get to meet the person. What's your name? What do you do? Where are you from? So people interact, get to know each other first, and then they do business. This is the difference between personalism and impersonalism. And Prabhupada explains that, even the scholars explain that even us as devotees that have adopted Krishna consciousness, the personal aspect of Krishna consciousness, even us, that are born on this African continent that is pervasive with personalism, but because of our education system and the way societies are structured nowadays, everything becomes impersonal. Our education is impersonalist. I was in Kenya just not so long ago, and I was in Eldoret. And when I was there, I met this wonderful couple. The wife is in charge of a big hospital. She's an amazing lady. She's in charge of a big hospital, big responsibility. And she had just taken to Krishna consciousness. And the husband was a astrophysicist, right? He's a physicist. He's like a scientist. And he was struggling with Krishna consciousness, right? So they heard I was in Eldoret. I was there for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. 2 weeks. And so they came, the wife came, because I gave some classes online, and I guess she figured I would be able to help somewhat her husband. So they came, we made an appointment, they came, and we spoke about this. And this is what he was struggling with, the personal aspect of it. For the wife, it wasn't so difficult, but for the husband, it was like this. And I was explaining to him, is part of it is because of our education system, you know, from primary school all the way. I mean, I don't have a PhD. I mean, he's a PhD and he's got many other qualifications, but I do have friends and family that have PhDs. And for you to get your PhD, you have to have a supervisor. And a supervisor is sort of a guru, right? And the guru decides what you write. So you can come up with a topic, okay, I'm going to write about this. They'll look at it and say, no, it's not scientific enough. So again, remember that knowledge filtering system that I was speaking about, that Michael Kramer and Saraputta Prabhu is speaking about. It's the same thing. So in our education systems, the personal aspect is filtered out and the impersonal aspect stays, you know, like now, everywhere you go, you hear people speaking about the hustle culture. Hustle culture, right? I spoke about this in the Bhagavad Gita in Accra, in Medier. We went on Harina, and when I saw a guy who had a T-shirt that says, "Work harder, nobody cares." Work harder, nobody cares. So you see the care part of it, the person, the acceptance of a person as a person is disappearing. And so this is one of the very big topics in the Bhakti Sastri, the discussion of personhood, the very reason why Prabhupada came. And I attended a seminar many years ago by Ravinda Sarup Prabhu, and he was discussing these issues of personalism and impersonalism. And he was explaining how the first impersonalism we have to deal with is the impersonalism in our own hearts. We have to deal first with the impersonalism with our own hearts, because we have a history of impersonalism from school, sometimes family, relationships, and all these influences. And so you can see sometimes in different dynamics, right? In different temple dynamics, and different just in Krishna consciousness in general, that in some instances, devotees don't deal with each other on a personal aspect. It's more impersonal, on a numbers business, not on a personal business, right? So basically, we have to understand what being a person entails. And when we understand this, it's easier for us to share it with other people and not be swayed by the impersonalistic world. Because sometimes what happens is, devotees, we find ourselves in a very difficult situation sometimes socially, where the whole room is impersonal. You can't know God. God is light. God is energy. God is everything. And then you have to come up without looking too fanatical and explain that actually personalism makes more sense than impersonalism. So this is the Bhakti Sastri course. And this is what Prabhupada is speaking about here in this text that Prabhu just read. So what I want to do is, I want to hear from you. I've given you some examples of impersonalism, just in general from the, from the world we're living in, from our own hearts as well. I want some of you to share with you some examples of what personalism looks like and what impersonalism looks like, so that we don't just operate on the, theory platform. Remember, one of the goals of this Bhakti Sastri is personal application and preaching application. We can stand like this until class ends. So I can do that, no problem. So we want to see if we can translate theory into practical application. I know it's Saturday. I know you want to go see the Super Eagles, or you want to go watch the Black Stars, cricket, rugby, whatever it is. But right now is Bhakti Sastri time. You can just raise your hand on the screen so I can see you.
Prabhu, can you please give them some clue of what exactly you want them to?
Okay, so last probably 3-5 minutes speaking about personalism. How should a Prabhupada's whole mission is to preach personalism? I explained what personalism is in contrast to impersonalism. I gave some examples of what personalism looks like in practice, and I gave examples of what impersonalism looks like in practice. And since we are Vaishnavas, we are personalists. We worship a personal God who is Krishna. Christians are the same too. We worship a God that is a person. So what I'm asking you is, based on the foundation that I've built so far in the past 5 minutes, give examples of day-to-day life of what impersonalism looks like in the world or in Krishna consciousness, what personalism looks like in the world and impersonalism. And we see it all over. I'm sure everybody here is on social media, including Raghupati. Everybody here is on social media, so you know what I'm talking about. What I'm trying to do here is to awaken that sense of discrimination as you read and as you move into the world, as you encounter information, as you encounter people. You have to be discerning enough to see if what you are digesting mentally, devotionally, spiritually is personalism, is what Prabhupada is taught, or is just popularism because it sounds nice. Flowery words. Raghupati, turn your camera on. So that's my question. I hope it was clear.
Very clear.
Like I said when I started, I'm not here to just for you to just sit there and me just being like giving a monologue. This is meant to be interactive and discussions.
Yeah.
This is meant to challenge you devotionally. It's meant to challenge you spiritually. It's also meant to challenge you academically, intellectually.
Yes. Like for instance, 5 people or 3 people can be in the room, and each person is absorbed in TikTok or Facebook or whatever, Instagram, without talking to each other for a very long time.
Yeah.
And if somebody's phone, the battery runs down, like very soon now, Raghupati Prabhu's battery will run down. If the battery runs down, the level of anxiety the person enters and the desperation to try to charge it back. This is impersonalism and its effects.
Yes. Thank you very much. It's a very nice and very clear example. Thank you, Chaitanya Prabhu. Some other examples. We want to see if you can translate what we've been discussing into proper understanding. So what I'm asking you, I'm testing three things here. I'm testing your understanding of what Prabhupada is said in the purport and what we've been discussing. I am testing, Purushottam, I'm also testing your preaching application, and I'm also testing your personal application. So these are the three things. Purushottam Prabhu, go ahead.
And also, if we say something is personal, when we say something is personal, we are dealing with a personality. The service is done to personalities. So we can't say we are serving somebody who is not seen. And we all know from the Christian background, there is this quotation that says, God sits on the throne. So it's a personality who can sit on the throne. And if God is impersonal, how can he sit on the throne? So service goes with personality. Personalities serve personality. Person and person. We serve in person and person. So impersonality and personality, service cannot be done impersonal unless
wonderful,
the person
wonderful. Very nice example. Service can only between two people. Yes, very nice. You can't have service between two non-persons. Wonderful, wonderful. Raghupati, you had your hand up.
Okay, Prabhu, please, when we say about something is personal, when we say something is personal, like seeing an animate thing, seeing something which is real, a figure which is standing there, or a figure which can be seen clearly. And impersonal is something inanimate, something which cannot be seen. Like sometimes when we are preaching and we want to seek the blessings of the people around, sometimes we try to notify the people who are there, and they normally say both seen and unseen. So the unseen part is the impersonal. That's why even when we are doing lectures and we try to off our videos, it's like the one who is preaching, the one who is giving the lectures doesn't see the person who is behind that icon. But when the person sees the picture of that person, or the person sees the person on the video screen, he tries to identify the person who is there. So you being personal, you showing yourself as a figure, and then impersonal, not seen.
Thank you. Thank you, Raghupati. I like what you said about concrete. Person means concrete. It's a very nice one. It means concrete. There's no room for speculation when we're speaking about a person. When we say Krishna is a person, we know exactly what we are speaking about. So thank you for that. Concrete versus just abstract stuff. I don't know, it says base Africa, so I don't know if it's Chaitanya Prema Prabhu or somebody has their hand up.
And that is Janmastami Mataji.
Hey, Janmastami Mataji, Hare Krishna. Why are you hiding behind the screen? Go ahead, yes. I can't hear you. I think you are mute. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, example of impersonalists and personalists on a day-to-day is like
We've lost you again.
a child who is being cared by the mother, and also who is being cared by medical facilities like the machine and the drugs. So for the mother's aspect, it is personalism, because she's there day and night, feeling the child's temperature and taking care of her or him. But in the other aspect is the medical facilities. The machine is the one doing the job, and there's no personal person there. So he's not feeling any affection or relationship. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So now let's take that example of somebody is in the hospital, the mother is there, you know, the hand is there. The impersonal part of it may be that the mother or the father or the brother sends WhatsApp messages. How is he doing? Is he doing okay? Instead of being there themselves, they get information about their son through the media. So that's another way. But your example is good enough. Okay, so so there's something very interesting. I spoke about this when I was in Accra, also in Lagos. How devotees go on YouTube. Devotees go on. Just let me move this here. Better. So devotees go on YouTube and all these things, and they listen or they hear stuff. And then I've had devotees come to me asking for clarity. There's a very popular YouTube personality guru. I'm not going to mention his name. And he speaks very sweetly, very nicely. And many, many, many devotees have been attracted by him. But along with that comes something very interesting. I think in the past 3 years, 4 years maybe, I've seen a spike in devotees emailing me, WhatsApping me, or calling me, or whatever, asking me, is it true what such and such guru said? He said this about Krishna. He said this about our philosophy. He said this about personalism. And he says nothing good about Krishna. Nothing good about devotional service. He always is knocking us down. But because he speaks very sweet words, devotees flock there. And in the process of being flocked there, in the process of them flocking to listen to this rascal, they get contaminated. Krishna, what is it? Mayavadi, Krishna, Aparadi, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. You listen to Mayavad philosophy, you get contaminated. And this person is a Mayavad. Because when devotees started asking me, sending me these questions about this person, I decided, let me try to understand who this person is in terms of his education, his background, so I can be able to, see where he's at. He's an impersonal. He's written books and stuff about impersonalism. And he has nothing good to say about Krishna. But because he speaks very nicely, devotees listen to him. He has millions of followers on YouTube and other stuff. This is contamination. This is what waters one's personal outlook, is listening or giving oral reception to impersonalists. It'll destroy your devotional service very, very quickly. Mahaprabhu himself, he said that I would rather be locked in a cage with a tiger than be in the same room with an impersonalist. There's two types of impersonalists. You'll also, it'll come up over and over in this Bhakti Sastri. You have the Mayavadis, then you have the Brahmavadis. Prabhupada explains that the Brahmavadis are those that are innocent. They're looking for the truth. They believe God is light, the truth is energy, but they are not offensive. The Mayavadis, on the other hand, they say Krishna is originated from some light. So that the original Brahman is not Krishna, but like some bright light. We should be able to defeat these people. We should be able to counter-argue, because Prabhupada makes counter-arguments all throughout his Bhagavad Gita. We should be able to, when we hear somebody speak, we should be able to see what this person is trying to preach to us. Because whenever there's communication between two people, there's advertising. everybody is trying to share their position, their philosophy with the other person, even among devotees. So we should be very careful. So for some additional references, you can read Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.10, and then Nectar of Devotion, chapter 2, Bhagavad Gita 7.19, also for references in terms of persons and the effect of Kali Yuga on personhood that we've been discussing. So dear devotees, what we're going to do is we have about 30 minutes before we end class. So we'll take a 5-minute water break. Let's go drink some water, stretch your legs, take some fresh air. We'll be back at 5 minutes after this, and then we'll conclude the class past. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Oyeka God Jehovah. Oyeka God Jehovah. The way your video is distracting. So it's better you put off your video.
I don't know. I don't want to start. Okay.
Only you, please put off your video during class until you get to a stable place. Okay? Yeah?
Yes. Thank you, sir.
Hare Krishna. You are permitted. Anantajit. Anantajit, if you are there, please. Let Isana Goranga come out independently. We want the two of you to be separate, because we are only seeing one person as in attendance. Okay, so come on. You are with your phone now. Yes, you are with your phone, but Isana Goranga is not there. So tell him that he should come on his own phone separately. Raghupati Prabhu, use these 5 minutes to rectify your situation so that you don't go off.
Okay, sir.
Yes, please. Hare Krishna. Good. Anantajit, this background is good for you. Remain here for the rest of the class. Stay here for the rest of the class. It's okay. Anyway, this is your 5 minutes. Oh, I'm not taking your 5 minutes. You can use your 5 minutes the way you like. Oh. Go and stretch your legs.
Okay. Okay, Hare Krishna. So, oh, Krishna. Oh, brother. How do you turn the camera on here? Start video. Yes. Okay, so where were we? Okay, we ended here and we discussed that. Okay. All right, we'll skip that. So we discussed this in personalism. We discussed understanding the beginning chapter of the Gita in relation to hearing, and Bhakti is easy. We discussed this a little bit in terms of engaging the service of a pure devotee. Okay, we didn't cover all, but we'll discuss it as these points come up. So the second section is 8 to 14. Somebody can read just the English, 8 to 14.
Okay.
Somebody
Oh,
other
son
than
of
Raghupati, somebody other than Raghupati can read. I want to hear what everybody sounds like. Hare Krishna.
I
son
read
of Kunti,
Prabhu.
Yes, please go ahead, Prabhu.
I am the taste of water. O son of Kunti,
Okay.
I am the
Go
taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the symbol Om in the Vedic mantra. I am the sound in ether and ability in man. Text 9. I am the original fragrance of the earth, and I am heat in fire. I am the life of all that lives, and I am the finances of all assets. Text 10. O son of Peter, know that I am the original seed of all existence, the intelligence of the intelligent, and the prose of all powerful men. Text 11. I am strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. I am sex-like, which is not contrary to religious principles. O Lord of the Bharatas, Arjuna. Text 12. Know that all states of being, be they of goodness, passion, or ignorance, I am manifested by my energy. I am, in one sense, everything, but I am independent. I am not under the modes of material nature, for they, on the contrary, are within me. Text 13. Deluded by three modes, ignorance, passion, and ignorance, goodness, passion of ignorance, the whole world does not know me, who am above the modes and inexhaustible. Text 14. This divine energy of mine, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it. And
Thank you,
then
Prabhu.
text 15.
No.
Okay.
We'll end at 14. Because that's the second section. Remember, the first section is 1 to 7. And then let's go back up here. So this is the division of chapter 7, right? So the first section is we just read or discussed Krishna, knowing Krishna in full by hearing from him, 1 to 7. Now we are discussing the second part, knowing Krishna as a source of both material and spiritual energy. So that's 8 to 12. So Krishna describes how he is the essence of everything in text 8 to 12. If Krishna is the origin and essence of everything, as explained in text 4 to 12, why do some people not recognize him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Text 13 to 14 explain how the living entities are deluded and controlled by the three modes, but can go beyond them by surrendering to Krishna as he is the controller of the modes. So in this text number 8, O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the syllable ong in the Vedic mantras. I am the sound in ether and ability in man. So maybe this is not important, but anyway, we'll discuss it maybe when we get to chapter 12. So look at this beautiful verse, right? It describes Krishna's independence from the three modes of material nature. No, it's text number 8. I'm sorry. I jumped ahead here. Text number 8, purport. Okay, so the last paragraph of this text, it goes like this. Prabhupada says, okay, maybe I'll go up. I'll read a little bit because this may be important also. The taste of water is the active principle of water. No one likes to drink seawater because pure taste of water is mixed with salt. Attraction for water depends on the purity of the taste. And this pure taste is one of the energies of the Lord. Again, Prabhupada brings up the impersonalist, another very important theme that keeps recurring. The impersonalists perceive the presence of the Lord in water by its taste. And the personalist also glorifies the Lord for his kindly supplying tasty water to quench thirst. That is the way of perceiving the supreme. Here's another example. I was asking you, how does personalism express itself in the world and how impersonalism express itself in the world? So Prabhupada gives an example here, right? The impersonalists, they glorify the taste of the water, which the personalist devotees do. But the personalists not only glorify the taste of the Lord of the water, but they glorify the Lord for offering the water in the first place. So this is the distinction between the mindset of a personalist and the mindset of an impersonalist. So Prabhupada is again giving that example. One who knows God knows that the impersonal conception and the personal conceptions are simultaneously present in everything, and that is not that is no contradiction. Because in philosophy they say if something contradicts itself, it doesn't exist. It's not real. It's false. But here we see that even though the personalism and the impersonalism contradict themselves, or at least they seem to contradict themselves, but there is no contradiction, Prabhupada says. So can I kindly ask you to turn your cameras on? Because everybody has their cameras off, except for two devotees. Because I know devotees, they sit behind the computer and God knows what you are doing, right? Somebody may be doing something else and not paying attention. I teach a lot, so I know what goes on behind the screens. And I attend classes as well, so I know what goes on behind the screen. So I think we should just be attentive, like we were speaking earlier, how attention means, or means giving your whole to everything. And attentive listening means being present and not turning your camera off and then doing something else behind the scenes. Otherwise, you will not get the full benefit of this program, this Bhakti Sastri. Okay, so again, the impersonalism aspect of it is brought up again. Prabhupada says, therefore, Lord Chaitanya established his sublime doctrine, Achinta Beda Beda Tattva, simultaneous oneness and difference. You see, in Krishna consciousness, in Vaishnavism, specifically in Gaudiya Vaishnavism, everything is reconciled. If you think about the first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, where Arjuna chased after Ashwatthama, caught him, brought him between the two groups that had differing opinions. On one side, you had Bhima and Krishna. They said, kill him, right? On the other hand, you have Draupadi, you have Yudhishthira. They were very compassionate. Don't kill him, right? And so Arjuna is in the middle, he's confused. He's looking at his older brother, he's looking at Krishna, and they're saying, kill him. He's looking at the king, the older brother Yudhishthira, and his wife, and they're saying, don't kill him. And Prabhupada writes in the purport, he gives a very beautiful purport there. He says, everything is reconciled in Krishna. Because Arjuna found a solution to the problem, which you'll have to read on your own to find out what he did to solve this difficult dilemma. So Krishna is independent of the modes of material nature. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it. So Krishna is independent from the modes of material nature, unlike you and me. Prabhupada writes here. Text number 9. I'm the original fragrance of the earth. I am the heat and fire. I'm the life of all that lives, and I'm the penances of all ascetics. I'll probably end with this one here. So Prabhupada says, I am the heat in fire. He will repeat this in the 10th canto of the in the chapter 10 of the Bhagavad Gita. He will explain how is the fire of digestion. Now, there is fires of different kinds. According to the Vedas, there's different types of fires. There's not just like one fire is the same. If you ask anybody who cooks, if you cook khichdi with an electric stove, and then you cook khichdi with wood, and you cook khichdi with cow dung, they taste differently. All three will taste differently. They don't taste the same. So not all fire is equal. Not all fire is the same. So in the Vedas, it explained, the Vedic, in the Rig Vedas explained there's different types of fires that Krishna is speaking about here. One of them is, maybe before we get to that, the first type is the sun, right? That's fire. Anything that goes close to the sun burns. So the sun is fire. So that fire, that sun also manifests itself in different ways in the material world. One of the ways that it manifests itself in the material world is through the yagya fire, the fire that's used for performing yagya for initiation and so on. So many years ago, I was traveling in South India, and I came across, people there are like dark like me, so it's not a, it's not a problem. Some of them are even darker than me. So they didn't have any issue with me hanging around them. So I was invited into this family, this Brahmana family. They were performing a yagya. So, it gave me a very special position. I sat in the front. And we don't have time. I'll cut to the chase here. But so there's one type of fire, right? The yagya fire. And this Brahmana was telling me the fire that he was using the yagya for has been burning in their family for 300 years without being extinguished. So generation after generation, they keep the fire burning. That's what it means, keep the fire burning the same. And that's what he used to light the yagya fire. So that's one type of fire. There's a fire that we use for cooking in our kitchens, whether it's wood or it's electricity. There is digestive fire, the fire of digestion that Krishna speaks about here. There's also the digestive fire, the mental digestive fire. There, in a sense that when you read something, just like it said that if your digestion fire is digestive in the stomach, digestion is weak, you'll be sickly. You'll not be able to get the benefits of food benefits of the foods that you eat, the nutrients that you get. You're not going to get the full benefits of it, right? But if you keep yourself healthy and your fire of digestion very healthy, you can digest anything. Prabhupada used to joke, he says, I can eat anything. I can digest nails even, because his fire of digestion was so strong, right? So similar thing applies to our mental fire of digestion. So when you are reading something, just like if you're eating something, you can't digest it, it means the fire of digestion is weak. So if you're studying something, you're reading something you can't properly understand, it means your mental fire of digestion is weak. So it's not always that somebody is stupid, they can't understand something. It's not really that people are idiots, they can't understand it. It's just that they are not feeding their fire of digestion sufficiently enough for them to understand. So just like there's techniques and methods and diets that one can follow to increase one's fire of digestive fire, one can also do the same with one's mental digestion of fire. So this is not just like a simple and straightforward sentence that Krishna is saying. It's straightforward because Krishna is saying it. But also the acharyas also look at it in different ways and understand it in different ways, and you can expand it. So this is fire. I am the original fragrance of the earth, and I'm the heat and fire. I am the life of all that lives, and I'm the penance of the ascetics. Prabhupada says, similarly, without fire, we cannot run factories, we cannot cook, etc. And that fire is Krishna. The heat in the fire is Krishna. According to Vedic medicine, Ayurveda, indigestion is due to a low temperature at the belly. So even for digestion, fire is needed. In Krishna consciousness, we become aware that earth, water, fire, air, and every active principle, all chemicals and all material elements are due to Krishna. Duration of a man's life is also due to Krishna. Now, the fire that burns, that keeps the whole body alive, that burns with the prana, that's Krishna. Prabhupada is saying. Therefore, by the grace of Krishna, man can prolong his life or diminish it. So Krishna consciousness is active in every sphere. So in the first canto, the 8th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada gives a list of things that a devotee can follow to actually live a happy life, even in the material world. And one of them is, anyway, you can read that on your own. So we'll stop here. I'll see if there's any questions and comments, and then we can end. Purushottam Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for your wonderful lesson. Before going for the break, you gave some reference texts to the personalism and the impersonalism. About 3 reference texts. Please, can you repeat them for us so that we can?
You mean these ones that are on the screen?
Before going for break, you gave some
remember.
reference text to the personalism and the impersonalism.
You mean this one here?
No, before going for break.
Or before going for break?
Yeah.
Before you go into break, we were discussing this. Oh, this was the last screen. So maybe you're speaking
some 3
about
references.
Yeah, go ahead. 3 references.
Reference text. Like you said, Bhagavatam 1:10, Nectar of Devotion, and then I think
So Srimad Bhagavatam 1:10.
Yeah.
And then Nectar of Devotion chapter 2. And then Bhagavad Gita 7:19, which is coming up now. We'll discuss it.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So Chaitanya Prabhu. So tomorrow, I don't know, we can move it, we can start at the regular time that you normally start your classes. Because I think I made a mistake when I was calculating the time difference. That's why I sent you a message in the morning. I was a little... So we can either continue at regular 10:30 time, Ghana time, or we can make it 9:30. Up to you for tomorrow.
Okay, I think 9:30 is preferable because it will give chance for people to finish and come for Sunday programs. So from tomorrow, we continue with 9:30.
Okay. Okay, we'll continue with 9:30, and then we'll do something that we should have done, that we didn't do, introductions. I mean, I know some devotees here, but it's nice to, to introduce yourselves. I know quite a few of the devotees here, but some I don't know, I haven't met. So we can take 5 minutes, 10 minutes tomorrow to do the introduction, and then we can continue.
Okay, great. Thank you very much,
okay?
Prabhu.
And then also just because I'm here to serve all of you, right? And I'm trying to get to a stage where I'm able to share with you in a way that's, preferable and understandable to you and relishable to you as well, because Shastra is also meant to be relishable. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, if you have any feedback for me as a teacher, for you, if you want, if there's certain things that you'd like me to improve, for instance, I tend to speak a little faster. You want me to speak a little slower? You want me to give more examples, analogies? You want me to, whatever it is that will help you in this module that I'm teaching to help you. You can write directly to me. It's fine. I won't take any offense. Don't worry. You can just be straightforward and share with me what you'd like me to help in terms of improving. I'm always, I'm an imperfect being. I also want to improve. And so I encourage you to do that, to give me feedback. And also I encourage you to that some of the references that I'm giving you, when you are not, when you're not in class, please read them, because it's they're very edifying for you. So with those words, thank you very much. Have a nice weekend. We'll see you in the morning tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. My phone is free. Okay. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. My phone don't disappoint me. Can you hear me now?
Prabhu, we can hear you. It's like network is always disturbing you in that your area. With your laptop and the rest.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Prabhu, we can hear us speak.
Okay. Okay, please. I wanted to speak while Prabhu was still there, but the thing has dribbled him out of the whole thing. So, nevertheless, let's continue. Please, we want to appreciate those devotees who attended this class. We don't want the number to go down. All those who are here, so please make it a point of duty. The teacher is loaded, seriously loaded, and he has a lot to share. And those who are academicians, they know that, yes, he has a lot to offer. And if you are attentive, you will get a lot. So we want to encourage him by being present and being really present. Okay. And also to avoid distracting stuffs. We should on our videos and ready to be interactive and be ready to ask questions. Don't hold anything back. Whatever you don't understand, please ask. He's there to clarify, okay? So follow him mindfully. He's a learned man, you can see. So follow him nicely. So thank you very much once again. Tomorrow, as we said, we are starting by 9:30, the normal time. Okay, he originally miscalculated the time and we shifted to 10:30 based on his calculation, but he later realized that we can do it by the 9:30. So we're going back to the 9:30. Okay, 9:30 Ghana time, 10:30 Nigerian time. So that is tomorrow's class. Thank you very much. See you. Hare Krishna. Also try to read ahead. And also one embarrassing situation that is that many of you do not have the student handbook. Many of you do not have the student handbook. So I will forward it again on this platform so that it will come from for everybody to see. Try to get a copy for yourself. When it refers to a particular place, I know that none of you have it. So we have to just cover it somehow. But print out.
Frankly speaking, it's true, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Also for the exams, for our first unit, please. We are still hoping that before Thursday, I will get my things together. Then we will do the exams.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Babu, we just pray that Maya should not hold your laptop this time around.
That's
Maya. We'll cast that Maya away this time around.
It's a mystic man. He's a mystic man. It's a mystic man. It's a mystic man.
You ask them whether they understand. They say they understand. Then why you want to set the exam again?
But you guys, it's a mystic man.
There is no shortcut, no shortcut in spiritual life.
You do. There's no cause you do that. You don't write the exam. Even if they ask you if you know it. You have to write the exam.
If you know, you know.
Pray for me so that my things will be okay for the exams. Otherwise, if you energy to support Maya against me, then
Oh,
we'll see
no.
Babu, that Maya is leaving this time around. The exam must hold. That Maya that is attacking your network and your laptop.
It's
Yeah,
me. It's me.
Maya has already taken away the laptop now. My laptop.
They don't want me to set the exam again. They say we don't cross out. We don't cross out.
Those of you who are supporting Maya, we are going to expose you very soon. Maya is already strong. You don't need to support her. Support me because
Uh,
Krishna.